Welcome to Israel Now. I'm Katrina Zish.
And I'm Bob Brooks, where we, along with our team broadcasting in Israel, highlight the latest news coming from our strongest ally in the Middle East.
In this special, we'll journey into the heart of Israel, talking to local entrepreneurs and religious leaders, while also exploring the area's rich history, nightlife, and Israeli cuisines. But first, this past week, Vice President J.D. Vance traveled to Israel to help keep the peace in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed Vance with a ceremony at his office in Jerusalem. The two described the alliance between the nations and rejected the notion Israel acts in a way Washington wants.
1 week they say that Israel controls the United States. A week later they say the United States controls Israel. This is hogwash. We have a partnership, an alliance of partners who share common values, common goals. We can have discussions, we can have disagreements here and there, but on the whole, I have to say that in the past year we've had agreement, not only on goals, but how to reach them. And I think we're pursuing them successfully.
We don't want a vassal state, and that's not what Israel is. We don't want a client state, and that's not what Israel is. We want a partnership. We want an ally here. And the president believes very strongly that if Israel honestly, with our Gulf Arab allies, can play a very positive leadership role in this region, to where, frankly, the United States can care less about the Middle East because our allies in the region are giving up and taking control and taking ownership of their area of the world.
The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, also traveled to Israel. Here's some of what he had to say.
We're back here with just a little bit over a week after a very historic day where President Trump's work with our partners led to this extraordinary breakthrough. And now we have more work ahead of us, but we feel very positive about it. We're making good progress. It's amazing that in just 7 or 8 days, the kinds of things and systems that have been set up. No one's under any illusions. We've already done the impossible once, and we intend to keep doing that if we can. We have good partners that we're working on. But we feel confident and positive about the progress that's being made. We're clear-eyed about the challenges, too. But the president has made this a top priority, I think, as evidenced by the fact that both Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were here for much of the week. I know he spent time with them, and the vice president just left. We crossed on the way. And then I'm here now today because this is a priority. It's a very important achievement, but there's more work to be done and bigger achievements that lie ahead.
Jared Kushner and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff were in Israel as well. Witkoff says he met with freed hostages and their families. One of those hostages was welcomed home by his community. Governor of the Binyamin Regional Council, Yisrael Gans, greeting Avinatan Or. Or's father says his son was handcuffed to a 5-foot cage in a tunnel during his time in captivity.
On Tuesday, he received a hero's welcome, celebrating with his fellow Israelis in his hometown. Israel, though, is still waiting for Hamas to return the remains of all of the hostages. So what did Israelis think about the show of support from Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio this week?
Our Israel correspondent Jody Cohen, who is broadcasting from Israel, spoke to local residents.
Last week, President Trump himself was in Israel with senior members of the Trump administration. And this week, a few of them have returned. We've got Steve Witkoff here, Jared Kushner. We've got Marco Rubio coming, and of course, Vice President J.D. Vance. I've been speaking with people here on the streets in Israel about how they're feeling about all these visits from the Trump administration.
It makes me feel actually a lot more safer. Ever since Trump entered, we see a practical change in Israel. We see the return of all the remaining living hostages, and we really hope for the return of the bodies and the people who fell.
For 2 years, we were alone. There is no one else, I think, in the world right now that is with us. There's nothing else we need, only that. We can do all the rest. Just be with us.
We suffered a lot we suffered. And now, thanks to God and thanks to Trump, he is the best, really.
For the first time in a long time, we feel that we have a big brother, someone who keep in charge of us and take care of us and want our safety. We never had a president like Trump. I mean, in Israel, it's like the Messiah. Everybody speak about Trump, like from where he come from.
So as you can see, the general feeling here is that America is certainly supporting Israel. Back to you.
Joining us now, Bruce Pearl, former coach of Auburn's basketball team and chairman of the U.S.-Israel Education Association. Coach, it's a pleasure to have you on. Big fan here.
Great to see you, Bob.
I know Katrina is too.
It took me a few minutes, and I was like, oh, now I completely get it. So anyway, we're thrilled to have you.
So let's do this. I think we have a lot of questions here. Let's start with the vice president's visit and Secretary of State, and just how you see the ceasefire deal and the peace deal working out so far.
Well, Bob, first of all, I don't think there's a president in the history of our country that could have ever got the Arab world to work together with Israel to get these hostages home. There are still 13 bodies of deceased that need to come back. Gaza is not demilitarized right now. Hamas is not demilitarized. That is a real problem. I think if they just follow the peace plan step by step and enforce a peace plan, we got a chance for prosperity in the region. I was pleased to see Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio following up on President Trump's plan and for the United States to show leadership and to see this thing through.
I like how J.D. Vance pointed out, the vice president pointed out very clearly, as did Prime Minister Netanyahu, that the U.S. and Israel we work together. We're friends. We're allies. This is not something where President Trump is just sort of dragging Israel around and telling them what to do. I mean, this is very much a strong relationship, a friendship, something that, again, I think is rare, especially today.
Katrina, it is, and I think it's due to the fact that Bibi Netanyahu trusts Donald Trump. Trump's been a man of his word. He's done all the things that he said he would do. He moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He declared sovereignty, for Israel over the Golan Heights. He asked Israel to release 1,000 Palestinian prisoners, 250 convicted murderers, saying, look, this is our best chance and maybe our only chance to get these hostages out. And I think because of that trust, they're willing to both make sacrifices to give peace a chance.
And he did. He got all the hostages out here. Remarkable, both from President Trump and Israel as well. Hamas is still there. We've seen the videos. They're executing people. They got, the peace plan. Israel moves back a little bit. They go in. They're doing executions to anyone who goes against them here. Can Israel exist as long as they're hanging around the Gaza Strip in a peaceful way? Is a future possible?
No, there's no chance for any long-term peace. The Gulf Arab states have already said we're not going to invest one dime in Gaza as long as Hamas is still in power. So what's happening now is Israel's obviously pulled behind that yellow line, and they're talking about beginning perhaps some reconstruction in that area. It would remind me of sort of what happened in Berlin and in East and West Germany. And perhaps there will be Palestinians that want to get on the other side of that yellow line and begin to live in peace and prosperity right now, and it would even further isolate Hamas. Look, I'm not happy that Hamas is still alive and still holding on to their weapons and killing their own. But the banana peel's been peeled off, and we're all getting to see exactly what Israel has seen and known for a long, long time. I'm hopeful. The region has never been safer. Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Hezbollah has diminished to next to nothing. Syria's got a new regime. And Hamas can no longer launch rockets from Gaza. We bought ourselves a period of time where it's going to be quieter. Now, a lasting peace, that's going to take, I think that's going to take God's help. Yeah. And it's going to take a bit of a miracle. But we're on our way.
And some patience, maybe. Coach, also, many elite coaches don't share their political views, but you did. And here you are with us as well. But you were recently criticized by an ESPN host for doing just that. Let's watch.
Tony, he become a divisive person, it seems to me, intentionally. And I hope there was pressure to just get him out.
A divisive person speaking out against terrorism? For a country and a people that you love? I don't understand that. When that happens, do you get frustrated? I'm sure you don't get scared. I don't think you get scared. But how does it make you feel? It's got to stir up some emotions.
I think it's just an indication of where we sort of are as a country. First of all, I really like Mike Wilbon, and I love Tony Kornheiser, and they do amazing work, okay? They say you can't talk about religion and politics anymore. So we don't talk about it at our kitchen table. So when we do talk about it, we don't know how to talk about it. We don't know how to agree to disagree or listen to one another. I know one thing about Mike's comments. I know they weren't anti-Semitic. He wasn't saying I was divisive because I'm Jewish. That's not the play. But I do think it is my politics, and my politics is different. And the way I feel doesn't make me right, but I think I have a right to feel the way that I feel, and he's got a right to feel the way he feels. I'm not divisive. I've been trying to bring people together my whole life.
Well, even based on what you're saying right there, like you're open to other points of view. But I just want to clarify. So you believe, though, that he was saying you're divisive because you do praise President Trump, because you do believe with this administration's policies. Is that why?
Yeah, and I agree with so very, very much of what President Trump is doing domestically and in foreign policy. He's leading, and he's making a lot of right decisions. He inherited a mess. He inherited the world's worst inflation, the debt, the direction that we're going in. We're digging our way out of it. The problem is Americans aren't feeling it. And so when our Israeli friends wonder, why aren't we getting the support that I hope we would get from the United States? It's because we're still, gas is expensive, groceries are expensive, the cost of money is really expensive, and we've not felt the recovery yet. So they're a little concerned about spending money overseas, and that's a real problem.
Well, as you pointed out there, Coach, you left in an absolute mess here. And I think maybe had you made comments the other way, conversely, supporting maybe somebody else, the reaction wouldn't have been the same. But that's the kind of media climate, and I think the kind of country we're in right now, that it's sometimes taboo just to speak your mind, even if you do so peacefully. Let me ask you this. When I say anti-Semitism on college campuses, you say what?
Breaks my heart. But what I say, I'm not blaming the kids. What are we teaching right now on college campuses? In other words, after October 7th, is there a new Middle Eastern Studies course? What are we teaching them? They're learning it on Turk Talk. Who wouldn't want a free Palestine? So yeah, I'm going to give me a flag and let me chant Free Palestine. What these kids don't understand is Free Palestine means free of the Jews. Free of the Jews meaning death or destruction or elimination.
Who's ever
from the
teaching
river
them
to the
knows
sea.
that. Their professors know that kind of stuff, though.
They do, but there's a lot of influence from the Middle East that's in our university campuses right now. Our university presidents don't want a problem. Look, don't worry about it. Come to the South. Come to the SEC, okay? We don't have those problems in our college campuses. Our kids aren't rioting and are protesting. There's freedom of speech. There's freedom of religion. There's freedom of expression. There's tough curriculum. We love our country. We love our neighbor. Just come on down south and you'll see.
I like
still
that.
at it, still
Southern
recruiting.
Charm, we call it Southern Charm. All right, Coach, in 2022, I understand you took your team, as of course one of the top coaches in the country, you took your team to Israel. And it was not only to play exhibition games, but also to see Israel itself. Here's a clip.
First Auburn basketball player to enter the Dead Sea. Let's get it, baby. It's time to flow. Dead Sea Diamond, 28 karat.
They trying to kill me out here.
Just throw your feet up, man. Oh! I'm floating.
Mama, we made it. How do you go? How do you get back up?
Ramming speed.
I love that. That's amazing. And what we're looking at here, not just playing around, but you also took them to the Jordan River to get baptized. What made you decide to do this, Coach, specifically the baptism part? And how did your team respond?
You know, for me, Jerusalem is a place that should unite us. It should not divide us. It's the place where all the religions were born. I've got some wonderful Christian young men on my basketball team. And for the opportunity for me to take them to the Jordan River, a place where John baptized Jesus, was beyond special. They went to the Wailing Wall and they prayed. They went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus may have been crucified. And they got closer to understand the Jewish roots of their Christian faith. They get off the plane, they go to the beaches of Tel Aviv, and they see all the color, and they see all the beautiful people, and they recognize that, you know what, there's not a lot of apartheid going on here, there's no genocide going on here. These are people that love their country, grateful to be back in their ancestral Jewish homeland. When people ask, what can you do to help? Come visit. Just, Bob, could you go visit?
I've heard
Bring
so
friends
many
and
people
families.
say
Just
that.
go.
You hear about it, but to be there and to experience it is something that words cannot describe. You have to experience it for yourself.
Coach, what's next for you coming up here? We got a new season starting. You're going to be on the other side of things, right?
Lot less pressure, I think, sitting over here, calling the games than being over there on the other side.
A little less pressure.
I'll tell you, I'm excited about
Tiny
it.
little
So I'm going to
bit.
be working with Turner Sports and
okay.
CBS, and I'll be doing some studio, and I'll be calling games. I'll bring the passion and the energy. I hope I'm good at it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Mr. Bruce Pearl in the broadcast booth officially. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Really great talking to you.
Thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you.
No, and thanks
Good to
for
see you,
all
Coach.
that you did. Those kids will never, ever forget that experience. All right. And still ahead on Israel now. Not all of the killed hostages have been handed over by Hamas. A report on that up next.
Okay, welcome back to Israel Now. Hamas is still holding the bodies of several hostages in Gaza.
Correspondent Sarah Williamson reports on those Americans whose bodies have not yet been handed over by Hamas.
Omer Nutra, one of 2 remaining Americans to be held hostage in Gaza. Omer is a New York native. He grew up on Long Island and moved to Israel to join the IDF after finishing school.
Our beloved son, Captain Omer Nutra.
The other, Itai Hen, the 19-year-old Israeli-American dual citizen. His father, Rubio, has been a pillar of the Bring Them Home movement.
God bless this president with his America First policy, which includes highlighting getting U.S. citizens out of areas of conflict. I just hope that now it's my time to be reunited with my son. We are New Yorkers.
Itai's parents, Ruby and Hagit, along with Omer's parents, Ronan and Orna, meeting with Vice President Vance on Wednesday to discuss the status of the ceasefire and how and when they can get their boys back.
The whole purpose of this trip was to really try to understand how to make the peace stick, how to move on to phase 2 successfully.
Ronan Nutra tells me that the VP is committed to the return of the hostages and called the meeting emotional, meaningful and important. The families of the hostages say they cannot go on with their normal lives and there will be no victory until their loved ones are back. This comes after 2 other hostages were released and identified Tuesday night. 85-year-old Ari Zalmanowitz and 38-year-old Tamir Adar. The time frame given to Hamas, or how long Hamas will take to locate the remaining hostages, remains unclear. But until then, Israelis continue the push to bring them home.
Bring them home. Bring them home.
Bring them home.
Sarah Williamson for Newsmax.
And still ahead on Israel Now, Vice President J.D. Vance. He visits one of Christianity's holiest sites.
Last week, Israeli-American singer Omer Adom performed at a sold-out Madison Square Garden. Wow.
Yeah, he opened the concert with a tribute to the released Israeli hostages, as well as President Trump.
I love Israel. I'm with you all the way. You will be bigger, better, stronger. People of Israel, please know that America joins you in these 2 everlasting vows. Never forget and never again.
This was in front of 20,000 fans, and there was a report that Sofia Vergara even attended. That's big time.
That is big time. I should have went.
She is very pretty.
Okay, yes, she is. Israel is not only home to Judaism, but also welcomes Christianity and Islam.
Vice President Vance saying the following this past week.
I've been to Israel once in my entire life. I came for about 36 hours. And as a Christian, I think the world's Christians will know that this country, that this region of the world means a great deal to me. And I know that Christians have many titles for Jesus Christ, and one of them is the Prince of Peace. And I'd ask all people of faith, in particular my fellow Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work a miracle in this region of the world.
The vice president even visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The VP saying it was an amazing blessing to visit the sacred places.
Christians from all over the world travel to Israel to visit these holy sites, and one of those places is Capernaum.
Here's Israel correspondent Jody Cohen broadcasting from Israel.
This is Capernaum, or Kfar Nahum in Hebrew, which means the village of Nahum, and it's where Jesus made his home, and it's from here that he preached to his apostles. Now today this is a national park, and there's a trail which follows what it says in the scriptures about Jesus and Capernaum. This is the gospel trail. It says in Matthew 4:12-13, he withdrew to Galilee, he left Nazareth and made his home in Capernaum by the lake, in the territory of Zebulun and Naphtali. So this is Matthew 4:13. Leaving Nazareth, he went and lived in Capernaum, which was by the lake. And here is the lake, the Sea of Galilee.
The Christian part of the lake starts pretty much here in Magdala, goes up to Capernaum, to Bethsaida, all the way over to Gamla, where people were hearing Jesus and the first followers of Jesus came from.
I think this may be one of the most peaceful places I've been to in the whole of Israel. It's just so beautiful and quiet and peaceful.
Certainly is. Should take a trip there.
I was going to say, what an assignment, Ms.
Yeah.
Jody Cohen.
He's having a good time there. Well, that does it for Israel Now, this segment of it. Thanks for watching.
All right, we will see you next time, and this program is brought to you by LaPalm.